Mark, all frucked up, day 12. I'm filming on day 13 just because I'm traveling, but this is the day 12 long form video. I think one of the worst things that's happened to humanity along the way is there's no consensus among what constitutes a healthy diet. And, that could be by design, or that could just be the nature of everyone having a difference of opinion from the person to their left and to their right. So, not that there needs to be consensus as far as like everyone must eat this, but it would help if we at least had all of our ducks in a row, so to speak, when it comes to what constitutes a healthy diet. So, I think so much of what we rail against and argue about is stuff that's been programmed into us. And, as soon as we accept one type of dogma, even if it's, you can eat whatever you want macronutrient wise, but you just count calories, or no, you must only ingest this one particular type or two particular types of macronutrients for the win, then, we're already divided. And that's not even getting into like the processed food and, how we cook with oils and what the smoke point is and what the cookware should be and all these different factors. So, it's probably overly optimistic that I would expect ever to see consensus, but I think to some extent the lack of consensus has been a scheme or a strategy that's been implemented. In any case, what I'm here to talk about today is the fact that, the ketogenic diet, the low carb approach is really where I focused. I didn't focus so much on high fat. I tried that for a little while. In fact, I did a month and a half of extended fasting, 60 and 72 hour fasts, and then breaking the fast with buttered coffee. And I drank so much buttered coffee that I literally stalled my weight loss for a month and a half. Which makes sense because you can have the most efficient body fat. Let me back up. You can have the most efficient fat burning machine, this body. If you get it fat adapted, you can be like the premier fat burning machine. But if you ingest too much dietary fat, too much exogenous fat, you're not going to burn the body fat. Your body's just going to preferentially be like, well, we're a fat burning machine and he's providing us all the fuel that we need. So, there's been all these different strategies that I've implemented, and then wanting to experiment with the high sugar diet, the high carbohydrate diet. People get worked up, and some of them are like legit concerned, and others are just, trolling or throwing shade. Look, I get it. I would have been one of those people that, while I wouldn't have probably actively commented in the sections on the videos like, hey, you're an idiot, I would have kept that to myself out of respect for my fellow human beings. I would have certainly felt that way. I used to think that Durian Ryder was just like the craziest person ever, because 7 and 8 years ago, when I first went low carb in 2016, November 2016, and then got into intermittent fasting on April 1st of 2017, April Fool's Day, which I thought was appropriate. I didn't know where the road would lead, but I certainly, as a low carb zealot, thought that Durian Ryder was insane. I'm glad that I was wrong about that, and I owe that gentleman an apology. Not because I trash talked him anywhere, but just because he's preaching the truth. Objectively, he's lean, so what he has said works, so that's the truth, or at least a truth, right? I thought he was insane, and to that degree, I apologize. Harley Johnstone, I'm sorry I doubted you. But aren't we essentially just eating like a bodybuilder's diet minus all the protein? It's kind of the way it seems to me. And that's not so crazy. So, any case, this is the long form video for day 12. I'm traveling, so it's being uploaded on day 13. Hopefully I get more content posted later today for the actual day 13 video. But whatever, I'm trying to adapt and overcome. I'm working with my schedule here as I travel. So all the best. This is all frucked up, and I will see you later. Thanks.